All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're ready and hope you're excited because we are going to change our thoughts and in turn change our life. It is Tuesday, and you know what that means. Time to do the Tao now. Tuesday Tao, ladies and gentlemen, reading from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. And we are all the way up to the 44th verse of the Tao Te Ching. And Wayne Dyer extrapolates in a short little essay here, a couple pages long, about what he thinks this 44th verse of the Tao Te Ching means and how we can begin to understand it and apply it in our lives. And while I'm going through reading this, I'll be extrapolating my own ideas and opinions and adding to that as well, so that we can begin to learn and understand and, like I said, begin to try to apply this wisdom into our lives in order to change our lives for the better. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am all about being obsessed with trying to figure out how to increase the quality of life. And isn't that a great thing to be obsessed with? I think so. And so let's dive right into, ladies and gentlemen, the 44th verse of the Tao Te Ching. And Wayne Dyer titles his understanding or titles his essay on this verse, Living by Knowing When to Stop. Do we know when to stop, ladies and gentlemen? Well, let's find out. The 44th verse of the Tao Te Ching begins with, which means more to you? Which means more to you? You or your renown? Which brings more to you? You or what you own? I say what you gain is more trouble than what you lose. Let me say that one again. I say what you gain is more trouble than what you lose. Love is the fruit of sacrifice. Wealth is the fruit of generosity. A contented man is never disappointed. He who knows when to stop is preserved from peril. Only thus can you endure long. Fascinating. I almost wonder if there was a typo in that part that I had to read twice, which is, I say what you gain is more trouble that what you lose. I think it was supposed to say than. I say what you gain is more trouble than what you lose. But this is so fascinating. Another powerful one, ladies and gentlemen, with once again the idea of these paradoxes, these opposites. It's like, which means more to you, you or your renown, the status that you've put on yourself? And which brings more to you, you or once again, what you own, or the level of accumulations and the once again status that you put on yourself with your, whether it be your title or what you're described as, what people know you as, which would be your renown, and then what you own being your possessions, fancy cars, nice house, wealth. And so I think what's being asked here is it more important, these things, your status and your title and your physical things that you've gathered up, your possessions, or is it you that is more important than all of those things? And then I think the question to begin to ask ourselves there is, how do we differentiate us, or the you, the me, you, us, from our renown, our titles, and our possessions? How do we separate those things and begin to build the value of the you, or the me, or the us? And so then it goes into that short line there. Love is the fruit of sacrifice. Wealth is the fruit of generosity. And, that's when trying to manifest and, attract more financial security or whatever it be into our life. It's like wealth or love is the fruit of this service, this sacrifice, this generosity, this giving. And then what we're chasing after so often comes back into our lives in ways that we didn't expect it to. A contented man is never disappointed. He knows when to stop. He who knows when to stop is preserved from peril. That one's very fascinating. And so let's dive right into what Dr. Wayne Dyer has to teach us here today about this, knowing when to stop, ladies and gentlemen. The 44th verse, Wayne begins, tells us that changing the way we prioritize our life ensures a fruitful one. I call it the enough is enough section of the Tao Te Ching. When you update your view of the most important things in your life, the world around you is going to seem very different. And this is the whole concept behind changing your thoughts and in turn changing your life. Change the way you look at things, and the things that you look at change. Even though they're still the same things, it's just you that is changing. See, back to that you that is changing. And so then that changes the outside. But let's go back into this. When you update your view of the most important things in your life, the world around you is going to seem very different. Lao-tzu is urging you to look into your heart and examine what is truly important. Earlier verses of the Tao Te Ching counsel that the essential mission of your life is to go back to, or get to know, in parentheses, your originating source before physical death. In other words, you don't have to die to make the return trip. It's not only possible, but essential to feel your connection to the Tao, to your source, to God, to the force, to the grand organizing design or intelligence or great spirit, whatever it is you want to call it. It's not only possible, but essential to feel our connection to this while we are still alive, ladies and gentlemen. And that's a very powerful idea to ponder on, meditate on, spend time contemplating that. And so knowing when to stop, Wayne Dyer continues, is part of the path leading you to your essential self, where the need for fame and possessions is non-existent. You see, it's not the things or even a desire for recognition that keeps us from living connection to the Tao. It's our attachment to the things or the desire for recognition that gets in the way of us experiencing this connection. And so once it's our attachment to these things, whether it's our renown or our, the things that we own, our physical possessions, our belongings. And so knowing when to stop is a key distinction or a key separation here. And so it's our attachment to these things that where we're not stopping that is blocking. So shift, Wayne Dyer continues, the importance that we've placed on success or belongings, which has obscured our connectedness to God, to the Tao. Begin to note the senselessness of demanding more. Exhausting yourself in pursuit of what keeps you trapped is a vicious cycle of striving and never arriving. And see, that's something we always mention at the end of each of these videos, the idea of striving rather than arriving. And so we're trying to find fulfillment. This verse implores you to know when to stop, Wayne Dyer says. And so he continues by saying, I'm sure that you can easily see people in your environment who spend their entire lives seeking more of everything. More possessions, money, recognition, awards, friends, places to go, substances, food, you name it. If you live with this same philosophy, you've signed up for a life of frustration and dissatisfaction because the search itself becomes your jailer. The pursuit, the striving becomes the only process that you know how to do and be in. It's like if you never practice arriving, meaning, feeling the joy of actually achieving something you wanted rather than getting there and just setting a new goal and then going further. It's like we have to really learn how to sit in the moment and arrive and be happy with what we've done so far. And then in the future, once we practice that, when we do arrive again after striving, we know how to be there. And we're not just sitting there continuing to strive for more and more and more, and never appreciating and always frustrating. And so that's an extremely important and powerful point, ladies and gentlemen. And if you agree, and if you're getting value, leave a simple comment, yes, in the comments. Now it's easy to see then why Lao-tzu, Wayne Dyer continues, advises that what we gain is far more trouble than what we lose. And when we prioritize our life, you'll find that love and a feeling of abundance are not only what we desire, but these two principles are instantly available because we've changed the way we look at the world. From this new perspective, you'll feel totally loved and wealthy in all ways. I realize that Lao-tzu is again speaking in what seem to be paradoxical words, which is my favorite, ladies and gentlemen, because I think the greatest wisdom comes out of these confusing paradoxes. And so these paradoxical words, just it's something that really, I think, which is why I'm so obsessed with continuing to do this process of trying to deep dive into this kind of wisdom and understand it, is because you could hear the same wisdom 100 times, but as we go throughout our process of life, there'll be different things that click in for us, that resonate. Like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think what that really means is not like when you are ready as a person, another person that will be your mentor will appear. It's more like when you are of a student's mind, the ideas and information, the teachers will come in and you'll begin to click into new things. I think that's another reason why I'm so fascinated with these paradoxical words. So Wayne continues by saying, but Lao-tzu is coming to us from the perspective of having changed the way he looked at things and noting that what he looked at changed. He now sees love and wealth everywhere, yet he knows intuitively that he can never possess them by chasing after them. Powerful, since they'll always remain just outside of his grasp. And so he looks at the Tao and sees the great way, sees that the great way keeps nothing for itself and is willing to let go of its life-giving essence, and is desirous to share with all. When you give of yourself, asking nothing in return, and withdrawing your need for recognition, you'll experience more contentment. The fruits of wealth and love are even seen right there before you when you simply stop the chase, when we can begin knowing when to stop. The beauty of the wisdom of this 44th verse, Wayne says, is that you give away your attachment to things or ways of being, which is what I mean by knowing when to stop, Wayne says. If the chase is wearing out your health, then stop. If the chase is wreaking havoc on your relationships, stop. If the chase is exhausting you, then stop. If this constant striving, he keeps using the word chase, but chase is my name, so it was getting funny there in my head. But so if this striving, this chasing after, like I'll be happy when I get there. It's the way I put it at the end of all these videos, bringing happiness to the now, making it the activity or the process that we do, instead of always putting it out there and just striving and pushing, chasing after. It's like if this chasing, if this striving, if this pushing is exhausting us, wreaking havoc on our relationships, wearing out our health, is keeping us from enjoying our life, which is mostly what happens, then stop, ladies and gentlemen. Know when to stop. And then that goes into things that we've talked about already, which is the allowing and the observing and being detached from the outcome, and all of these other principles that goes along with these keys to manifesting and living a much higher quality of life in general. And so when you know, Wayne continues, when to cease and desist from all of these pushing and striving and chasing after activities, you're protected from all of those perils. And you'll enjoy a long and contented existence connecting with the Tao, or with our source, ladies and gentlemen, with that force, with God. The following is what Lao-tzu asks Wayne here to offer us as a means for implementing this great teaching from the 44th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Number one, he says, make your relationship to the Tao, to the source, your top priority. That's the ultimate sentiment. Like, it just made me close the book there, because once you can get that and truly get a firm grasp on it, this is making this relationship, or our connection to the force, to the source, to God, to the Tao, our top priority. That's when things really begin changing. And so how do we do this? Like, come on, Chase, you're telling me, it's like, how do we do this? All right, Wayne, how do we do this? Prioritize your life by making this the essential and foremost responsibility you have. Your primary relationship needs to be with yourself, not your family, your business, your country, your culture, or your ethnicity. And use this affirmation to achieve that relationship to our source. Affirm, the number one priority in my life is my relationship with my source of being. So let me say that again, see if I can do it without stumbling. If you enjoy my stumbles and you think they're funny, then smash the like button and let me know, ladies and gentlemen, because I enjoy having fun along the journey here as well. It's not super serious, we have to have some laughter here and there. So this should be your affirmation in making your relationship to your source, to God, to the Tao, your top priority. Affirm, the number one priority in my life is my relationship with my source of being. Go there first, Wayne says, before any other considerations, and you'll automatically discontinue demanding more of anything else. You'll begin to emulate the Tao effortlessly, living heaven on earth. Number two, practice knowing when to stop. And so alert yourself to recognizing when it's a good time to stop demanding, chasing, talking, walking, working, sleeping, playing, shopping, complaining, striving, and so on. By practicing stopping or ceasing, you'll move into prioritizing what's important in your life in that moment. And that's so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. So powerful. If your business is doing well, let it stop growing. Is your stomach full? Quit eating now. Do you have enough money saved? Give some of it away. Without taking deductions or asking for credit for your generosity. The more you are attached to needing and wanting and possessing, the more you lose in your relationship with this great force, this great Tao, God, grand organizing design. But when you know the time to stop, you say goodbye to the troubles that accrue and add up for those who sacrifice arriving for a lifetime of striving. Super powerful verse today, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you're getting value. If you are, consider subscribing, because we do this every Tuesday, and every Wednesday we do Wednesday Wisdom, and I'll be chopping these down to shorter versions if you don't want to spend the whole 40 minutes or however long these are. But sometimes long form really gets you down to those, like 7 minutes in, there's one sentence for you that makes the main difference. And for somebody else, it's 12 minutes in. For somebody else, it's the first 30 seconds. It's all different for all of us. But these kind of things can make a huge impact in our life. And so do the Tao now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the practical point, and why you should get this book for your shelf get this book for yourself to put it on your bookshelf so you can reference the end of each of these little chapters in these verses on how Wayne advises us, Wayne Dyer, my mentor, how we can practically put these ideas into application in our life, which is sometimes the hardest part, taking great wisdom and actually trying to put it into use in our life. So let's see what Wayne has to give us here today, ladies and gentlemen, for practicing knowing when to stop and making our relationship to the force or to the Tao our top priority. He says, do the Tao now. Pick an area of your life to practice releasing an attachment by deciding when to stop. I forgot to say, if you want to get the book, I have it linked in the description below the video, so be sure to expand that and check it out. Once again, pick an area of your life to practice releasing an attachment by deciding when to stop. Because struggling with attachments, I'll add right here, is one of the things that we tend to overlook so easily. So like, oh, I'm struggling, but it can't be the things that I'm so attached to. So funny how we argue for our misery. They're like, no, it's this. This is your problem. And you're like, no, that can't be it. It's like we're defending our misery without even noticing it. So, for example, Wayne says, so how do we do this? How do we practice releasing an attachment by deciding when to stop? So, for example, he says, plan to leave 10 minutes before we think we're done in the grocery store. Or refrain from buying anything that's not on our list. It's a big challenge for some of us. Refrain from buying anything that's not on your list. At work, restrain yourself from getting another cup of coffee or writing one more personal email. In a relationship, don't say anything else in a discussion that's going nowhere. That may be a huge piece of advice there. It's like refrain from saying anything else in a conversation or a discussion that's going nowhere. These are all examples of attachment to being or doing. And these are examples of how we can begin to release our attachment by deciding when to stop. And so you can also practice detaching by giving something away. Because remember the great sentiment, we are possessed by our possessions because of the attachment that we have to them. And so instead of just donating the worst shirt that you have, donate one of your favorite shirts, which would be hard for me because I got this shirt at LeakCon, ladies and gentlemen, back in 2019. Check this out. Hope you can see that. I'm very proud of making it to LeakCon and being able to meet Rex Bear and all the wonderful authors and speakers that were there, as well as Jeffrey Doherty and Jay Campbell and John D'Souza. It was just a great time, great memory. I'm glad I chose to make it to that event. Sometimes, we're not sure if we actually want to go do things, which is the opposite of what's being described here, practicing when to stop. But sometimes and we're nervous or we're unsure and we go do these things that we're excited about and we want to do, but we had that kind of nervous uncertainty and it makes a great memory. And so, if there's a conference or that you want to attend or a live event of someone that you support that you want to go to, but you're not sure about it, it can make a lifelong memory that will be very important to you in the future. And you'll be like, man, I'm so glad that even though it was just like a one-day thing or something or a few hours, it sticks with you and it makes you feel great that you went. Anyways, that's me rambling about LeakCon, ladies and gentlemen. So boom. Finishing up here with the practical part of how we can stop rather than striving. And so we can also practice detaching by giving something away. Just recently, for instance, my son surprised both of us by doing just that. It's funny. I was just talking about the t-shirts. He goes, I was admiring a new t-shirt he just purchased. And he said, here, Dad, you like this one so much that even though it's my favorite, I want you to have it. It was simple, spontaneous, letting go of an attachment, and both of us felt the wealth that is the fruit of generosity. Boom to knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. I think that last sentiment was so powerful. Like when you switch into gratitude, thankfulness, and generosity, giving, wealth and prosperity come into your life because you begin to have a consciousness or a way of thinking. Your thoughts become the thoughts of abundance. Because if you're somebody who gives, you're not thinking in the thoughts that I don't have enough and I need to hold on and I'm not going to get enough, I'm not going to get more. And remember, when manifesting, the universe just gives you whatever you're sending out in the ether, or in the with your mind, with your thoughts, and then it gives you back more of that. And you begin to behave and act on those thoughts. So if you want to get out of lack and scarcity and get into abundance and starting, feeling like you have enough and wealth, get into generosity, giving, and gratitude and thankfulness. And that will begin to switch your whole experience around. That I guarantee it, ladies and gentlemen. Something I've practiced for the last few years of my life, and it's really changed my experience with those areas of my life. So boom to knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. That was really powerful. Really powerful. I enjoyed that one so much. I'm always at a loss to what I'm going to name these videos. I'm like, wow. And so when it comes to generosity, I'm willing to give away some of my paintings, my landscape paintings, ladies and gentlemen, because, I've tried to sell them for so long, and I wanted to sell a lot of them, and then that became discouraging and all of these things. And I've realized now over all this work and, learning as I go along through the process, I'm no master. And it's like, maybe I should just start giving them away. Not all of them, of course, but give some of them away. And that feeling will be the feeling that I was searching for, rather than, trying to sell them and then getting these from the pushing and the striving and the chasing. I'll just begin detaching and releasing and allowing and observing and having gratitude and generosity. And then that will create the wealth and the happiness and the abundance that I was searching for through that process of trying to sell. And when you really think about it, like, it's so interesting when we think we want something. What we really want is the emotion or the feeling that something might bring to us. And so when you're trying to manifest things for yourself in your life, attach to the emotion or the feeling that underlies what it is. So if you're looking for more money, maybe you're really looking for more security or more, stability, feeling comfortable. And so attach to the emotions that you want to feel in the future. Assume the feelings of the future or take them on in the now, and then go with that. Detach from the outcomes. I'm telling you, it'll make a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen. So, wow. If you got value, ladies and gentlemen, consider subscribing. Also, be sure to expand the description below and check out the link to the book, as well as the link to my Etsy shop. I'll have to update that. I think I only got 2 listings up still when I could have 42. But I'll also have my email in the description below. A1, if you're listening again today, I really appreciate you. It means a lot to me that you take time to leave a comment every time and to dive in with me and Dr. Wayne Dyer and all the wonderful authors and poets of the wisdom of the ages, and as well as Lao-tzu and the wisdom of the Tao. And so I really want to send you out a painting for free. I'll pay for the shipping. It just, I want to show that I appreciate and support. So if you can send me an email, be like, hey man, this is A1. And I'll be like, yeah, just give me your shipping address, and boom, taken care of. So, but if not, it's all good. It's all good, ladies and gentlemen. And if anybody out there is a video editor, or has any ideas of maybe how you can help me and how I can help you, and we can work together and collaborate, be sure to send me an email as well. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that this adds value to your life, adds value for the time that you spend here listening, because once again, increasing the quality of not only our lives, but the lives of those around us is something that I am obsessed with. And I'm going to continue on because for me, it is just super fun, ladies and gentlemen. Next week's reading, next Tuesday now, is Living Beyond Superficialities. That's an interesting one to ponder on. But boom, ladies and gentlemen, so continue to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, through a greater awareness and a greater understanding of the reality that we live in, and continue to seek to discover the wisdom of the ages. That doesn't mean just the wisdom of the ages, the book itself, but the wisdom of the ages, of all of life and all of humanity that has to offer wisdom from all of history, because there is a ton to learn. And once you find excitement in learning new things, you'll never find yourself bored again. That's one thing I know for sure. And also continue, ladies and gentlemen, to make happiness the way. Because if we can make happiness the activity that we bring to life, like as a process rather than a result, then the things that we've been striving for in the distance, like I'll be happy when I get there, begin to become irrelevant because we're already where we want it to be. And then the entire journey becomes wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. All righty. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. I love and appreciate you all. And be sure to subscribe, share this with somebody you think can get value from this, and somebody who is like-minded. And I'll be back tomorrow with some wonderful wisdom of the ages to bring your way. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, do one act of kindness today. Open a door, smile at somebody, say thank you, or just one act of kindness, and go out of your way to do it, and don't tell somebody. And that will begin to increase your connection to this oneness that is a part of all of us and everything. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. No, 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 no.